Everyone to another episode of Sports Fellas.
Yeah, let's go.
Hey, let's go.
Hey, it's your boy Tristan.
Hey, it's your boy Edward.
It's your boy Taylor.
This is Chuck.
And this is your host, Carlos. We are here today. We're going to be discussing and breaking down the NFC, AFC North. We're also going to have a segment of Chuck's Dugout. Also, Eddie Money's Sports Thoughts. And our favorite segment here, Mano a Mano. So let's go ahead and give a quick pause and thank our following sponsors.
What's up, folks? It's your pal, Chris with a K. Let me introduce you to a new friend of mine, Ryan Wagner at Wag Sports Memorabilia in Des Moines, Iowa. Your number one source for sports memorabilia. We're talking hats, t-shirts, jackets, and all sorts of other items. And not only that, Ryan can get you any of these items for any team, NCAA, NFL, NBA, and the Major League Baseball guys. So make sure if you're in Iowa, and especially Des Moines, stop in at Wag Sports Memorabilia. Also find them on the web at www.wagsports.com. Thanks, Ryan. You guys have a great day.
All right, you guys, so this is the last division we're going on. So we're going to go on a sabbatical for a little bit, but we will be back. We're going to be introducing some new shows for fantasy football. We're also going to have our rapid fire picks. Tristan and I, we're still trying to figure out what we're going to name it. And also, we will have Sports Fellas in depth. So let's go ahead. Let's kick it off with the AFC North. And we're going to start with the Cleveland Browns. So the Cleveland Browns last year was 8-9. And Chuck, I'm going to start this off with you. What do you see for the Cleveland Browns this year?
I see perennial Cleveland Browns. I see just... Okay, I'll say this. This actually brings up a good weekly memory for me. You ever see where they implode old buildings and they set this demolition up, just ready to go, charges set, ready to have action, a successful mission at hand, right? And then they fire it off, and then guess what? It doesn't go down. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work right. They put all the money in. They went all in, and guess where they got? We don't know yet. So guess what? They don't know yet. I don't work for the NFL, and these guys that do, they don't know what they're going to do yet. So, granted, with the success of the rest of the division and their progress and their, with the ways the Bengals are going and stuff like that, that's probably where your storyline's going to go. But in those office meetings for the Browns, like, what do you talk about? What is there to? You lost one of your star wide receivers. He's not there anymore. So your quarterback was where you were supposed to be, and you sent him to Carolina. Like, he's not even off the bigger and better pastures. He's just in a better place than he was before. But yeah, it's just. I got a best friend that's a Browns fan, and he's just used to it. Like, this has got to be a curse. This has got to be something. He's just next chapter in the book of Browns flubs, man. Like, what do you know what I mean? Like, not to sound, depresso kind of here, but what do you got going for you? Like, I don't know.
Tristan, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I agree with Chuck, man. That quarterback situation is a mess, and I'm going to approach this just thinking that Deshaun Watson's not going to play this season. I mean, that's how it's looking. If he does end up playing, it might change, but I'm looking at them going 8-9 again, maybe 9-8, maybe finishing third in their division. If they can't get that quarterback situation fixed, they really got nothing for them. They still got a good run game, decent defense. Everything else is pretty good, but Deshaun Watson's going to make or break them even making the playoffs. So, yeah.
Actually, so let me touch on this. Let me stay positive. All right, let's
we need some positivity.
Let's put
here.
all the social, stigmas, the legalities, all the side stories apart. Let's play football. We got a roster. We have a starting quarterback in Deshaun Watson. That's who we're going to run. You got Myles Garrett. Mm-hmm. You've got, like Tristan said, you got a great run game, right? We're here to play football. Like, we're not designed to be successful in this league, let alone in a division that, you want to say Baltimore's not there, but they're healthy, so they could be there. The Bengals are who they are. They're healthier in the O-line. So you're in as far as the AFC goes, you're in one of the toughest divisions in the AFC because the South ain't it. The North is probably going to lead the pack there. You know what I mean? Other than the Bills, like, you've got that whole going for you, but the AFC West, that's pretty stout too. But, as far as the AFC North goes, you know, let's just keep it at that. So you've got your roster set, and we're going to play off of, you know, the successes of our players that we can, right? Well, then I think the NFL's bigger storyline is it goes to coaching, and I don't think they have the coaching to do it either. I really don't. They haven't for a while. You know, Baker Mayfield learned like 4 different playbooks in 4 different years or whatever the number was. It's just so I think it's a bigger thing. Let's leave it to the X's and O's. It's bigger than just the players, right? They've got all-star cast. They've got the guys to do it. Okay, but now, you know, Deshaun Watson did all right with Bill O'Brien's system, and he did okay there. He had DeAndre Hopkins. You know what I mean? That helped him out. Didn't have a very great run game, so let's offset the success there. But I think the coaching comes down to a bigger factor. Like, let's just play football. Everybody in the positions do what you got to do. Coaching's where I think it's going to hurt them. I really do. I think it's going to hurt them the most. How
about you, Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, as these other 2 guys said, that really hinges on the quarterback situation. And from what it appears like, Deshaun Watson likely will be missing, 8 games, maybe the whole season. And if you've got Jacoby Brissett under center, it doesn't matter, you know, how well the rest of your team is. If you don't have a competent quarterback, you're not going to win the division. You're not going to have a winning record. I don't see them having a record above 500. You know, I acknowledge they have a good running game, good O-line. They've got some good playmakers on the defensive side of the ball, but with all this drama surrounding the quarterback situation, you pissed off your old first-round quarterback. You've got, you know, fans that are unhappy with the situation. It's a wash. And you know how they say that Browns will be Browns.
Ouch.
Yeah, I mean, basically what, you 3 said. I mean, it basically sums it up for the Browns. You know, they have a squad all around. They just don't have a quarterback. And if you don't have a quarterback, I mean, you can only go so far. So
here's the thing with Cleveland. I mean, like you guys touched up on the defense, I mean, you have Myles Garrett coming back. I mean, Jadeveon Clowney decided to stay in Cleveland. You guys re-signed the tight end, Njoku. But now you guys got rid of Jarvis Landry. Okay. But now the quarterback. Deshaun Watson, great fit to go in. He just couldn't get the massages the way he wanted them done. I mean, so, hey, I'm nobody to judge. But here's the deal, though. At the end of the day, when it comes down to football itself, they have a good structure. When they went to the playoffs against the Chiefs, they played well against the Chiefs. It's just they let up the gas at the end. And also was that game 1 in that season opener, they went toe-to-toe with the Chiefs. And then after that, they just kind of fell off. But they've held their own against Baltimore. They go at it really well in the Battle of Ohio, especially against Cincinnati. Cleveland, again, they're doing everything they can. They change up your scheme on your jerseys. I mean, they're doing everything they can to get Cleveland back. I mean, remember, they were gone for a while, and they brought back, and this is how you pay back the city of Cleveland, by sucking. I mean, that's just not right. So this year we're going to kind of foresee, we're going to see what's going to happen, and it's not looking good. So let's hopefully, like Chuck mentioned, if the coaching can put the aces in their places and play fundamental football and just being able to say, hey, this is what we got to go against. Because remember, we'll talk about them in just a second. You got to deal with up-and-coming Cincinnati Bengals that just got off the Super Bowl appearance. You got the Baltimore Ravens that are going to be back healthy again. That's another headache. And now the Steelers, you caught them at the right time. Are they going to still be in rebuilding mode, or they're going to be putting their pieces together? We don't know. But hey, how about we just talk about them right now? The Pittsburgh Steelers. Last year they were 9-8-1. They got blew out by the Chiefs last year in the playoffs. I'm gonna start this off with you, Tristan. Where do you see the Steelers doing this year?
Same old, man. They're just in too tough a division. I see them doing worse than the Browns this year.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of.
Shout out to Eric and the Steelers fans.
Yeah, sorry, Eric. Man.
You know we got you recorded, so I'm going to tell.
Man.
I'm gonna snitch on you.
Hey, that's fine. Show them this clip, and hey, we'll be all good from there. It's just, they got one veteran wide receiver on there. That's Chase Claypool. Other than that, they got George Pickens, who's promising. He looks like he's going to be great, but he's a rookie, still has to learn the playbook and get used to everything. And, of course, Najee Harris and Deontay Johnson. So they got a decent, weapons across the field. But it's just, I know what it is about the Steelers. They just, if they can get that quarterback situation figured out, right now it's saying Mitch Trubisky's first on the depth chart, but I'm thinking they're probably going to go with Kenny Pickett after a couple games. We'll see, but they got a decent defense, but man, the only reason I'm saying that is they're going to finish probably fourth is they don't have a good enough team to compete with the Ravens and the Bengals. And I do think that even without Deshaun Watson, the Browns are much better than them. So for the division.
How about you, Ed?
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Tristan. They're pretty much in rebuilding mode, and especially that tough division they're in. With the Ravens and the Bengals. Coming off that Super Bowl run, it's it's going to be pretty tough. So yeah.
So I'm gonna give Eric a little bit of credit here while he's in the absence. They're far better than the Browns. One, because they have 3 quarterbacks that overcast all but one on the Browns roster, because the Browns are 1 quarterback away from being successful. They don't have him. They're not likely going to have him, I'll say. They've got a young quarterback. They've got Mitch Trubisky's record. He was on just a very bad Bears team. He's a good quarterback, though. He was in the same draft class as some of the other ones we're talking about, Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, but I don't think he's any less talented than Jacoby Brissett by any means. He's not. And then you've got Kenny Pickett, who, small hands aside, you made it to the NFL, big guy. You're an NFL caliber quarterback, and you've got this year to prove yourself when the time comes. You fill in when you need to. Let's say heaven forbid, injury comes in and you got to go into play, but their quarterback is going to come down to a quarterback carousel. Is the coaching is going to decide what's going to happen? Do you want to go with continuity and you leave Trubisky in it and he can get you there and manage football games, or do you say, hey, we want to give the young guy the action, let's see what he can do, and then if he does have that little bit of side of success, guess what? Our new franchise quarterback's in the play. So they've got a couple things going their way there. That's not really digressing them in that quarterback position, I think, but their defense is one of the biggest factors, and it's going to be T.J. Watt. He's the man. That guy's got it going on. Devin Bush, the guy's a stud. Minka Fitzpatrick, always a career guy. So I think their defense, if they can stay healthy, that's how the NFL goes, barring injuries here. But their defense will carry them a very good distance. And Najee Harris, you only got a running back for a couple of years. We talked about this earlier, guys. These shelf lives of these running backs is very short. Yeah. And you have the time you have to just ball out. And I think this sophomore, not slump, it's going to be a hump. He's going to hump it out. This Najee Harris is going to pull out the receptions. He's going to pull out the touches. He's going to be there. So if the offensive line and the quarterback can just manage football games, I'll say this. They're just not going to be worse than the Browns. I'm not going to say they're going to be that great because Baltimore's healthy. Cincinnati is who they are. But to say they're going to be worse than the Browns, I think that's a little bit far-fetched. But we'll see.
And then, to tag on him, I may, take my, take back, because, you can't forget, who the coach is, Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
He's yet to miss the playoffs in how long? So, you can't really count him out. So.
Yeah, to piggyback off what you all said, I think that they're kind of in a transition year with a new quarterback after being retired. But I think just due to the fact that they've got so many good pieces around the team, and the fact that Tomlin's such a great coach and his team is so well coached, I think they'll have a decent year. I don't see them making the playoffs. They might go 8-9, 9-8, more or less what the Browns do, but I do think this will be kind of maybe a little bit of an off year for them, but I could see in the future, even if Trubisky or Pickett aren't superstars, I could see the team being competitive.
This is kind of interesting. The way I see how the Steelers are, they've always been a menace. And when you think of the Steelers, you go back and you think of defense. You think of power run. They're a well organized organization with the Art ruining the family running the Steeler organization. So they're going to find a way to win. through the time that I've watched football, they were predominant in the 90s and then the 2000s when they recruited Ben Roethlisberger. He was just a star in the making. And just watching these amazing games, especially against the Bengals in the playoffs or the Ravens, it's always they're in the trenches and they just don't go away. This year is going to be interesting. I feel right now they're just going to be in a rebuilding process, and they're just going to have to take a seat back and just watch these other teams flourish. I mean, right now we're going to dive in next to the Bengals, and you see how I transitioned? That was smooth, wasn't it? Yeah, I see you guys. So the Cincinnati Bengals, shout out to Chris. I know Chris would love to have been here, but his team, they went 10-7 on their way to the Super Bowl. They just fell short against the Los Angeles Rams. Chuck, I'm going to start this off with you. What do you see the Bengals doing this year?
I see them doing really big things. I think in a pretty well balanced. I mean, that division was within about 3 or 4 games of each other. It doesn't happen very often. Look at the NFC East and things like that, AFC South. So when you have such a tough division, your games week in and week out, your in-conference games, your in-divisional games are pretty tough to play. But the Cincinnati Bengals, man, you're just an offensive line away. Like, you were that close to beating the LA Rams in the Super Bowl. Like, that was a story ready to be made. Like, outside of the defense, the phenom of Aaron Donald, like, your Joe Burrow statistics, your Joe Burrow playmaking abilities away from driving down the field and scoring and winning a Super Bowl. Like, that storyline was almost written before it was made, and it wasn't, because defense wins championships. But going forward, that's the most promise in that division, is that team right there, is the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, Joe Burrow, he's only getting better. That's what he does. He did it since college. His beginning years, he sat behind the Ohio State alumni there, and then he transferred, and he was instantly took LSU to a successful season. And then he goes the next year, and he takes them to a national championship. Probably one of the most dominant college football teams in history per statistics. He did it. He made it happen. And now he goes in the NFL, and he gets hit almost more than David Carr. Since I can remember, he's he's just getting annihilated, man, and he still makes it happen. So you're 1 to 2 key positions played on that offensive line. Give him the protection. And if you don't think Joe Mixon can make play action happen, like, that's the guy to make it happen in the league right now. He's catching footballs, he's running footballs, he's healthy, he's young, So that team, their wide receiving core, young. They're right behind their quarterback. Let's name a team that plays more for a quarterback than the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, that team just seems they got it together. You know what I mean? So I think they're doing the real deal. I think defensively, like, that's where a lot of question marks stand, because they don't have the star players. They don't have the big guy. They don't have the number 1 high contract player. So let's just manage football games. Let's get us down the stretch. Let's stay healthy, and then go to the playoffs as a healthy young squad, and you're going to be all right. Like, that's the storyline for the AFC North right there.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they're going to have a successful season this coming year. I could see them finishing 1st or 2nd in the division. And then I do think, NFL teams are going to have a year of film on Jamar Chase, another year on Burrow, and maybe they see if they can, double Chase more, do some sort of scheme to, slow him down a little bit, see what can be done on that side of the ball. I do think that the Bengals, I read something that they were the healthiest team in the league last year. That luck can't continue forever, so who knows, they might, lose a key player this coming season, and we'll see how they respond to that. Defensively, I do hear that they've got a safety, Bates, who's supposedly holding out, and he's a star. We'll see if they can get him signed and bring him into camp and have him, compete. I don't know, how well off they are defensively. I think they really just rely on their offense, score points, and they do that very well. We'll see if their luck from last year can continue. But, I really do see them having a good season again.
Yeah, I really don't feel last season was much luck to an extent, because I really feel, with just, the young core they have, rising and all, especially, starting with the quarterback. And then you got Jamar Chase, that young wide receiving core. Yeah, I know, defense wins championships, but I really feel, last year won't be the last time they make it to the Super Bowl. And I really feel they will win the AFC North Division this upcoming season. Because, the Steelers, 50-50. Browns, we just have to wait and see how, the QB situation plays out. And then the Ravens, we can only go so long in putting, our trust in Lamar Jackson. Yeah, he's a great QB, athletic and all, but, can he be a better passer? So.
Yeah, I got the Bengals taking first in the division. Pretty simple. They pretty much have the same players in that Super Bowl run. Added some from the draft to help with offensive line. And their defense, yeah, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. They had a pretty good secondary, and they had 2 good ends. But I see them taking first again. They're young. They're good. They're coming off a Super Bowl run. I see them making, losing in the AFC Championship this year. But somewhere along that line. Against the Chiefs, clearly. Who else wouldn't be?
Well, he got jokes, and it was kind of funny because last year, I'm sitting at home. I'm at my friend's house. We're watching the game, and our friend here, Tristan, he's excited. He's got his hopes up. He's already trying to get his Chiefs gear for the Super Bowl. And guess what? The fourth quarter, what happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. I'm glad you asked. Here's the deal, you guys. The Bengals defense, they play conventional smart football. Look what happened. Let's go all the way back to when they played against the Raiders. They went toe-to-toe with the Raiders. They didn't even annihilate them. They went toe-to-toe. They took advantage of key mistakes. When Derek Carr was throwing the ball a lot, they caught on Apple in the corners. The way they were putting that pressure on them. Then when they go to Nashville, what did they do? How did that work out? They intercepted Ryan Tannehill on the first play. Then they slowed down Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was nowhere to be seen. Then they go to Arrowhead, and guess what? I don't know who had it worse, $1 or Patrick Mahomes. 3 quarters, no quarter. The fourth quarter, I didn't get it back. So the thing is that, again, when you look at the game and you analyzed it, what did we see last year? We saw that they played to the strengths of the offense. Defensively, what were they doing at the end? Were they not putting pressure on them towards the end? They realized, okay, hey, let's just run it up. Let's go against Patrick Mahomes. Get him out of his comfort zone. Offensively, weapon-wise, Mixon, he's your best friend. The wide Tyler Boyd stepped up. He did great in the Super Bowl.
He
up there. Definitely stepped up. But what was their key thing they missed? And it was the thing that plagued them since get-go. It was the offensive line.
Right.
You got Aaron Darnold. He was just too hungry. You got a great leadership in Von Miller. You have Jalen Ramsey shutting down. He did get burned on one of those plays. But here's the deal.
Right.
But here's the deal, though. But at the end of the day, they all came through. And then Cooper Kupp just had that phenomenal catch in that Super Bowl.
Right.
But anyways, that's the past. Cincinnati has learned from it. Now the key thing is learning from that experience. Transition those plays that you did last year, bring it into this year. But now you caught breaks. Let's just be sincere here. You caught a Baltimore team that was injured.
Yeah.
You caught a Pittsburgh team that you had Ben Roethlisberger, he was just breaking it down. Now, okay, are you guys legitimately for real? Now you're going to go against this team, quote to Raven, nevermore. Got the Baltimore Ravens now, full force. And here we are, the Baltimore Ravens, your team, Taylor in the house. Last year you went 8-9. Lamar Jackson suffered an injury. Everyone was tearing their ACLs there. It was just bad business for you guys. But yet you guys were not getting blown out. Taylor, I'm going to leave the floor to you. How do you feel your Ravens going to play this year?
It all hinges on one word, and that's health. I don't think it can be worse than it was last season. I think it really just depends on if these key players can come back from last season and be what they used to be. starts off with Lamar. I don't think he had a serious injury. It was a bone bruise, but I think he'll be back. The running backs, all three of them ACL, Achilles. I mean, that's a very explosive position. You can only hope that they come back with that same explosion and can, do what they did years prior. Left tackle is another big question mark. Ronnie Stanley was an All-Pro 2 years ago, and then he broke his ankle. He hasn't played since. Is he going to be the same player? I think last year and the past 2 years, honestly, poor tackle play have been that's what's really caused some of the downfall for the team offensively. If they can, protect Lamar like they did in 2019, he can come back and, do things other quarterbacks can't do. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they did go out this offseason. They signed Marcus Williams, safety from the Saints. They drafted Kyle Hamilton, safety from Notre Dame, who both safeties are highly touted as, great talents. Hopefully they can, perform and then, slow down Bengals, slow down Chiefs with that secondary. And, have Marcus Peters come back from the ACL, Humphrey come back from his injury and just perform at high levels. I think if they can do all that, and I think they have a good chance to, maybe get first in the division, if not second. I definitely see them making the playoffs. And, if Lamar can, just make a good connection with his new receiver Bateman. I know he lost Marquise Brown. If he can make a connection with Bateman, continue to throw it to Mark Andrews, I can see them being, definitely a playoff team. I think they have the, everything they need to succeed. It's just a matter of staying healthy and in those close games, can Lamar, take it to that next level and be the quarterback some people doubt he can be. I think he can. So we'll see what happens.
How about you, Chuck?
So they're not aging well as an organization. Their defense is getting better, and that plays a big factor into things and how your season goes. But your playmakers, Michael Vick diminished over the years. Granted, he had some personal things go on but you don't get faster with age. Aaron Rodgers got better with age because he was a quarterback. He was a textbook pocket passing quarterback. Lamar Jackson has relied on his athleticism to be successful in the league, and that only diminishes. That feature doesn't take you the distance. So to his demise, I think that's something that he's relied on and cannot keep up with. So your running back core, which has a limited life shelf, is not getting better. Let's give them 1 to 2 years. So your running backs are great. J.K. Dobbins does balls out. He gets the touches. He gets the production. Your receiving core is non-existent as far as proven seasons go. You don't have a veteran. You don't have anybody. You don't. Even what was Snead? Like, that guy could catch footballs, right? But he was getting older, so he wasn't doing it for him, or he wasn't connecting with the personal level of the quarterback, whatever it may be. But your wide receiving core's not there. So then you're going to rely on your safety net, Mark Andrews, which is what a guy to have. Like, he's the guy that you want to have on your side when you need to make the quick throw, get it out, because I'm getting pressure type plays. So he's your guy right there. And I will say that's going to help them a lot. But outside of the defense, I think Baltimore is going to struggle offensively, and AFC is offensively driven. That's how they do it. Like, the Chiefs have had the years to get better defensively, and they've used their offense to do the numbers, right? And they've, made a couple of offseason moves, I think. But I think their offense, which we'll talk about, players going to different teams and stuff, but the AFC is offensively driven. I just think that in that league, in that conference, to make it, you've got to be able to keep the score up. And the Cincinnati Bengals did it last year. They beat the Chiefs with the offense. They didn't do it with the defense. They did it with the offensive numbers. So I think in that division alone, to keep – now, again, they were very, very balanced as far as record goes. So, yeah, pull a wild card out of it. We'll give you that. We'll give the Baltimore Ravens, you stay healthy. Lamar Jackson gets postseason reps. But that deep in the season, if he's going to get hit like he has in the past, he's not going to be okay. And if he can't become the pocket passer that he needs to be, well, just watch other teams on the up and up, like the Denver Broncos or something like that. Watch them make the quarterback moves to take him to the next level. Baltimore hasn't done that, and they haven't paid him yet either. So guess what happens when you get paid? You either produce or you don't. And he hasn't had that decision. He hasn't had to make that move yet in his career. He's just relied on his talent and his athleticism. But I just hope that for his sake, the guy's a career baller. Like, he's done it in college. He put up so many numbers, and he's done such production with his skill set that it just, the NFL doesn't, the edge rushers don't give you that edge all the time. Not years, not 5, not 6 years into your career. You get slower. They get faster. They stay younger. They stay on the edge. So I think that this year, he probably doesn't, but their running backs probably take a hit injury-wise, and you don't have wide receivers to get you out and open up your offense. And if you can't open up that offense, then your defense, you may rely on them this year. And I think that might be that's their storyline. Let's let our defense win these games for us. So if they do it and they can keep Joe Burrow under wraps for 2 games a season, and they can do it, well, there's the Ravens season right there. I think it's in their defensive line.
How about you, Tristan?
I'm gonna be a little more on the optimistic side on this one. I like their defense. I think they have a great defense going on, that secondary, and it's young and getting better. And I do agree no veteran wide receivers, not really any like major playmakers that have proved themselves. But I mean, they're a run-first team. Lamar Jackson runs the ball very well. They're getting J.K. Dobbins back, and they did really good with Tyler Huntley in some games, and I think they did decent last year without Jackson or like their first 3 running backs. So I'm gonna go. They're taking second in division. Maybe they'll fight for first, but I still give that to the Bengals. But I do think they'll pull a wild card, and I got high hopes for the Ravens this season. But we'll see. They just have to prove themselves. Stay away from injuries, like Taylor was saying.
No, you nailed it, Tristan. You nailed it on the dot. That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to give them wild card. But again, you're going into an AFC West right now that's a much better team than the AFC North. And already the Chargers can match up to the Ravens. If the Raiders play right, they can match up to the Ravens. And because the AFC West is known for run. They run the ball well. So we'll just have to wait and see. So let's go ahead and move on over to the NFC North. We've got the Detroit Lions starting up. Yeah, the Lions. Okay, so they were 3-13 last year. Let's summarize this. Ed, what do you got them at this year? Next. Okay, Tristan. That was.
I mean, same situation as last year. I mean, they've improved. I think they got like some more playmakers. They got DJ Chark now. St. Brown stepped up. Swift still good. I mean, they still have Jared Goff as the quarterback. You can, which he's not terrible, but I don't really like Goff that much. So same old story to me, man. They're probably gonna finish last in the division or maybe third.
Chuck?
Yeah, I think they don't have anything going against them from last season, like of the storylines, like. They're not progressing in a negative way, but that's the problem. Is in the NFL, if you can't pick it up, if you can't beat your next divisional foe, which Aaron Rodgers lost one of the best targets in the league last year, and yet they're still ranking him number 1 in the division. So, what's Jared Goff gonna do? You know what I mean? So, yeah, they're just. I'd give them 5 wins. Let's do that. I'll stay on Tristan's side. Let's stay positive. 5 wins.
Nice.
5 wins, baby.
I really don't see him being terrible next year. I think they did make some good moves. They got Aiden Hutchinson. They got
I love me some Aiden Hutchinson.
Right. They got that receiver too, Jamison Williams. He should be healthy. So I mean, and they had a good receiver last year who was a rookie. So I mean, they have some good pass catchers. They've got some good playmakers, and Goff's not the best quarterback in the world, but I mean, I could see them at least, being able to beat the Bears in their division.
The Bears. Shout out to Jimmy, big Bears fan. Here's the deal. I'm gonna make this real simple. The best thing that's got coming out of Detroit, you've got RoboCop, Beverly Hills Cop, a Honolulu blue jersey, which I think is a nice blue jersey. And overall, you have heart in Detroit. These guys, they've been with them. I mean, we've got our Wichita own Barry Sanders. You know what I'm saying? He was out there running with these guys. So don't forget where he came from. He came from here, Wichita, Kansas. But here's the
54
deal.
today.
Yeah. So shout out to you, Barry. Here's the deal. St. Brown, wide receiver. And then they picked up DJ.
Chart.
Yes. And then you've got the running back. What's his name? Running back.
DeAndre Swift.
DeAndre
And he's
Swift.
I mean,
phenomenal,
you've
yeah.
got, and then they're tied in. Hawkinson, what's his name?
Oh,
TJ?
Hawkinson.
So he's got
Yeah.
weapons. Jared Goff with the new coach in, because Matt Patricia was terrible. If they could just get restructured again, start over. I miss those good times when it was Matthew Stafford, Megatron, and they've always been able to produce wide receivers, but it's just no defense. And then you always look forward to Thanksgiving. I mean, in Thanksgiving, I even wanted to give up my food and say, can Detroit win a game? Let them win the game. And
came
I'm
close.
tired of that. I'm tired of putting my bets on that. I mean, it's either that or the Cowboys. I mean, what are my options? But we'll just have to see. Let's go ahead and move on over to the Green Bay Packers. Last year, they went 13-4. And again, another disappointing loss. Ed, I'm going to start this off with you again. Where do you see the Packers this year?
I definitely see them winning the division just because, I mean, you have Aaron Rodgers. The receiving core isn't too bad. The defense side of the ball isn't the best, but, it's good enough, to take care of business with the Vikings, the Lions, and the Bears. And then, like Aaron Rodgers once said, when he scored a TD on the Bears, he owns the Bears. And then, with Kirk Cousins with the Vikings, he's a middle-of-the-pack quarterback. So, yeah, I definitely see, the Packers winning the division, and they'll probably get disappointed again late in the playoffs like they always do.
Always, yeah. Yeah, I got them winning the division again just because, I think they have a great secondary. I love the secondary. It's looking good. And it's just Aaron Rodgers. He's a phenomenal player. Even if they don't got, crazy playmakers at the receiving position, I think Aaron Rodgers will make them look good. They still got Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Great running back duo, offensive-wise. Oh, they also picked up Watkins, who, he's a veteran. He's going to help. But, yeah, I got him taking first, man. Nothing more to say to that.
Yeah, so here's going to be your changing of the tide. If you ever took the moment to say, this is my division now, Aaron Rodgers, you're getting old, you need to move aside. She's had his opportunity, but he's proven he's still the man. If the Vikings don't do it this year, then they're not going to until Aaron Rodgers steps aside and everything goes the way it does. Because what do they got? That's a 5-game differential in your division. And I think that Devontae Adams matters. Devontae Adams doesn't matter. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams' chemistry mattered more than people might think. More than Aaron Rodgers probably thinks. Because your wide receiving core is not going to do it this year. It's not compared to any of the other AFC or NFC teams wide receiving core-wise. Their package is not ranked as high as some of these other guys are doing. The Raiders have a better wide receiving core than the Packers do right now. Your running backs were solid. We know that position diminishes. I don't want to beat a horse here, but running backs have a shelf life, and those guys are getting there because they're touches. They touch the football a lot, and they're going to get beat up. So if your defense doesn't pick it up, which they have some good players, but I do think that if the Vikings ever had a moment or ever had a time and place, this is it. Because you're right. Kirk Cousins ain't getting better. But if you're going to show out and you need to do what you need to do to prove that you're worth the money, now's the time. You've got a wide receiver. You've got a running back. Their star players, their playmakers are better than the Packers. They line up better off stat for stat, position-wise to position-wise. So I think with the young coaching in Green Bay, they do carry the division. But I think that you're going to see a lot closer relationship to win-loss record in the Vikings and the Packers this year. I just think Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers' chemistry matters more than I think people may realize, because he may be that good of a wide receiver, but he may not make Derek Carr look as good as Aaron Rodgers, or he's not going to. But if he can carry that chemistry next over, then you're going to see the Raiders take that relationship and you're going to see Aaron Rodgers diminish. And I don't think he's that guy to do that, but I don't think they're not getting better. I will say that. So this leaves the opening for the Vikings to say, hey, we want to compete in this division.
Yeah, I could agree with what you said, Chuck. I do see, I mean, if the Vikings ever had the time to win the division, this would be the year. Not saying it will happen, but I could see the Packers regressing a little bit offensively. Losing an elite wide receiver, arguably the best in the league, that's bound to do something. Just like, Tyreek Hill going to the Dolphins, what's going to happen with the Chiefs?
Right.
We don't know yet.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's just some unknowns, and, it could turn out well, but, until we see that happen, I'm going to expect a little bit of offensive regression. I could see them, though, turning more to the run game with A.J. Dillon, who's a stud, and then Aaron Jones.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a solid defense, and, I would expect them to win the division again, but I don't know if their ceiling is quite as high as it has been in years past.
I'm gonna go on the
point.
I'm gonna go on
I
the
like the
fence
way
on
you
that.
put
That's
it.
not bad. I'm gonna be a little bit more optimistic for the fact that the Packers are still going to wreak havoc in the NFC North. They, especially when you're playing at Lambeau. I mean, they're tough to beat at Lambeau, and they're a menace during the regular season. But we all know during the playoffs, that's where we kind of see them. We see their true colors. So on this one, I'm not going to give them the division. I think they're going to be more of a wild card, and I'm going to totally agree with Chuck on this one. It's the relationship. Devontae, that relationship that he had there, it's going to be. And then they lost Scanlon. He went to I don't know why he went to the Chiefs, but that's a story for another day.
Why wouldn't he, man?
I mean,
Come on, man.
why? But anyway, so that's going to be yet to be seen. So let's go ahead and move on over real quick to the Chicago Bears. They were 6-11 last year. They're going through a little bit of a shakeup. Ed, real quick, where do you see the Bears at?
I think I'll be a bit more, on the positive side with them. I think they can go at best 8-1. Especially, with the Vikings. I mean, it's really a 50-50. The Lions will be the Lions, and the Packers. I mean, back to the other, with the Packers. Aaron Rodgers may not have Devontae Adams, but I mean he has been able to produce okay, to better okay, wide receivers / tight ends. So I don't see them, losing to, the rest of the pack. So yeah, I mean that's my take on that. And I mean the Bears will probably at best, maybe, get second in the division.
I think that's a possibility, but I see him finishing third. I like the Vikings a lot better than the Bears this season, and I think Justin Fields is going to get better, and they have semi-young team, but yeah, man, I don't know what else to say. I got him finishing third. They're just kind of in a rebuilding mode. So with the new receiving core that they have, they got a lot of new receivers, and I also have high hopes for Darnell Mooney. I think he's going to step up.
Khalil Mack's gone. See you later, Bears.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That was simple.
I would just expect them, honestly, to finish last in the division. Nothing against Fields, but he just doesn't have – they're not setting him up for success. Line's crap. The O-line's crap. They don't have very, very good receivers, and like Chuck said, Mack is gone. So I really just – sorry to be pessimistic. I just don't see much good for them.
Yeah, I'll make it real simple. They're going to struggle. It's going to be them and the Lions struggling. They're going to be the stepchild, pretty much trying to fit in. So
Who wants the number 1 draft pick?
there you go. All right. Last but not least, the Minnesota Vikings. Last year they were 8-9 on a rapid fire quick deal here. Where do you see them at this year, Ed?
I think they'll probably, we'll be fighting, with the Bears, for that second seed. But I mean, with Kirk Cousins, being, okay quarterback, but you can't forget, the gritty master Justin Jefferson. So I mean, he's the real deal. So I mean, if he can, up his game, I mean, it just might mean business.
I'm going to go back with, what Chuck and Taylor said about, them if there's a chance to take that division, it's now. I see them. They're fighting for the division this year. They got a great team. I mean, even with Kirk Cousins, I don't think he's that terrible, but he'll get the job done. He can win you games. And they went 8-9, and like how many of those losses were like by a field goal or an overtime? Man, they could have done so much more this season. And I see him having a good season this year, man. They're fighting for that division.
Chuck?
So the NFC is a way more balanced conference than the AFC as far as not now. I think the years have progressed and you got the Chargers and stuff like that. But the NFC themselves is very well balanced, and you're seeing a changing of the tides from quarterback play down to the younger guys. I mean, Matt Stafford's played in the league for years, and he just now gets to shine for his talent, right? You just put him in to the pieces around him, and he succeeded like he should have always in his career. Too late, too not. He still won a Super Bowl. Great for him. But when it comes to that conference itself, stay healthy, and you're going to be all right. Because if you win the division and you get yourself in that playoff position where you're at a home game and you can win that one home game, and then that injury that takes a team down, or that bad two-quarter play from the one team, honestly, I think they're in a better position to win playoff games than the Packers were than they were last year, because the Packers proved they couldn't do it. But Minnesota's wide receiving core, young, studded, talented. Their defense, a lot better off than most teams. So let's stay healthy, get yourself in the position, and pull those seeds that you can. If you're able to do that by winning the division, I mean, it's not Kirk Cousins doing, but it's the team. I mean, that team as a whole, and he's the leader of the pack, of the team. So I think they might surprise you this year. Probably not, because that division is what it is, but maybe you'll see something out of them.
I think that they, like we said earlier, they could beat the Packers for the division, but realistically, I'd see them finishing second again. Kirk Cousins is a solid quarterback, but unspectacular. I think they've got a new coach, and they've got good players on both sides of the ball, but I could see them being a wild card team. That'd be my prediction if I had to guess. Well, they'll be a solid season, though.
Here's the deal. I'll make this quick and fast. Here's the deal. You got Dalvin Cook. He's a top 10 running back. You got Justin Jefferson, phenomenal, explosive wide receiver coming up. And Kirk Cousins will get you the ball. And who did they draft? They drafted that wide receiver. I forgot his name. I should have remembered. But
Adam Thielen.
yeah, he's got – this is it. It's now or never. So, come on, Minnesota. You guys, come on. It's time. You guys need to step up. Mm-hmm. So, we'll see how they do. All right, you guys. Well, that concludes that. We're going to go ahead and take a segment break and thanks our following sponsors.
Razor Cut Information would like to thank you, Ernie Relas, at State Farm, located at 11330 East Central, Wichita, Kansas. Please visit Ernie to talk about your home, auto, life insurance needs. As they say, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Thank you, Ernie.
All right, this is your favorite show. It's Eddie's Money Sports Thoughts. All right, it's brought to you by Lifeway Painting. Contact Chris Arredondo at 316-992-6434 for your residential and business needs.
I got money.
All right, so Ed, I'm going to start this off with you. With the feud between Bernard Pollard and Lamar Jackson, does this beef have any merits, or it's just pure envious feud? What's your thoughts on that?
I really believe it's just an envious feud. I don't, really know much about the whole beef, but I did hear about it. But I think it's more of, Lamar being on the verge of, possibly, getting, the chance to, secure his, big payday. So, I don't really think much out of it, and I'm sure Lamar Jackson doesn't either. So, he's, settle down and focus, for this upcoming season, to basically, prove, all these, analysts wrong, on, just how poor of a passer, they say he is, so he's just, willing, not willing, but working, to make that, step up, this upcoming season.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a dumb feud. I love Lamar Jackson's comebacks because, like Bernard Pollard, I kind of didn't really know who he was. You have to Google him to find out what position he played and how big of a role he played on that team. So, it's just coming from, I don't want to say nobody, but, man, what are you going to do? Lamar Jackson's a great quarterback. He was trashing on him about not being a great passer. That's why receivers don't want to go there. But, you're not going to pass much on a run-first team. It's not really Jackson's fault. And I think Jackson's a great passer. So just a dumb, envious feud, going on there. Nothing much to say about it.
How about you, the Ravens fan? Taylor, tell us.
Honestly, I don't think much of it. To be just a little bit of history, Bernard Pollard was on that Super Bowl team. However, the following year he was cut, and this isn't the first time this has happened. Pollard has been salty towards John Harbaugh for 10 years now. Been, pissed off, trash talked on the Ravens ever since he was cut. So this is nothing new. He's done it to other players. I don't think much of it. And yeah, I think Lamar does have a lot riding on the season, to secure that big payday. I think he'll probably get it either way, but I think honestly there's not much to talk about.
I'm going to make this real simple. You're living in the past, Bernard Pollard. Yes, you are the notorious Patriots killer. I mean, you've caused the Patriots a lot of headaches, and you were on a great team with Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. Be thankful you got a ring. You're rocking it. But here's the deal. You got to move on. Move on. Lamar Jackson is doing what he's doing. He's still a great quarterback. And, yes, we see some flaws there. I get it. But you know what? If you are so desperate and you so want to talk trash about the Ravens, why don't you call Coach Harbaugh, say, hey, I'd like to be a part of the organization. Work your way up. I don't know. They need people for towels. They need people for refill drinks. I don't know. But come on, man. Be better than that. Set the example. If you respect a little bit for the Raven organization, that you played hard. I mean, you're a great player. I mean, trust me. I was rooting for you on some of those plays. But come on, man. You're better than that. So that's our thought there. So that concludes Eddie Money Sports Thoughts. Do not forget, we are doing our giveaway. So like, subscribe. If you go on YouTube, tell us your name, team. We're going to give away a gift certificate to Superstar Sports or at Lids, either or. And we are doing a giveaway, 2 tickets for the Kansas City Chiefs game, preseason home opener against the Washington Commanders. So this is it, you guys. Our last winner, we had Marty, won a nice floor mat of the Kansas City Chiefs. I could have got that at the junkyard, but it's okay. It's all about you guys. So, hey, like, subscribe, get in there. So let's go ahead and give a quick pause and thank our following sponsors.
Razor Cut Information would like to thank you, Ernie Relas, at State Farm, located at 11330 East Central, Wichita, Kansas. Please visit Ernie to talk about your home, auto, life insurance needs. As they say, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Thank you, Ernie.
All right, for all the baseball fans, this is it. This is Chuck's Dugout. Chuck is in the house. So, Chuck, let's go ahead and start this off. So we have, in the American East, we have the Yankees and the Rays dominating so far there. In the Central, we have the Twins and the Guardians. I almost wanted to say the Indians, but it's the Guardians.
Yeah.
In the West, we have your team, the Astros, and a team I've not seen in a while, the Mariners. Can you give us a quick rundown on that?
Well, I mean, real quickly. So you talk about the American League East, and you say it's a close division, but man, that's a double-digit differential there. Like the Yankees are just on a tear. Like they're doing something big right now, and it's not something we've seen since the 90s, and you like to see it go deep into the playoffs and hopefully get them some success in that realm where they haven't seen it lately. But I do think that's where I see them fizzle out. We're early on in the season. We're barely to the All-Star break. So storyline-wise, I mean, the Yankees are killing it. The Bronx has some fandom going for them. They're living the life right now. But you also get what you pay for in the end of the season. So as far as the American Central, I think that kind of fizzles down a little bit there. You've got the Twins. They're doing their thing, but with as balanced as the AL East is, I think that a lot of those other teams outshine them for the wild card. The AL West, I mean, the Mariners are on a 13-game tear right now, so that keep them going. They're 10 games back with a 13-game win streak, but it's a long season. We'll see how it goes. The Astros just keep on keeping on, guys. Keep hitting those dingers. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, let's go ahead and move on over to the national side. So at the East, we have the Mets and the Braves. In the Central, we have the Brewers and the Cardinals. In the West, we have the Dodgers and the Padres.
Yeah, this league here, it's all about the Dodgers, man. They're just on such a big run differential. Their roster speaks for itself, That is what it is. I saw Freddie Freeman return back to the Braves the other day. That was a really cool storyline. I liked seeing that, especially when he fired his agent. That was pretty cool. But the NL East, the Mets haven't been, a juggernaut by any means, but to see them in the spotlight and leading the division like that, it's good for those New York fans again, especially on the other side, not just Yankee fans, but Mets are getting in on it too. NL Central, oh man, I really like to see Pujols make it to the postseason again, because that would just be a good storyline. Having him added to the All-Star roster as a legend, if you will, that was pretty cool to see. So, just keep the storylines coming. Baseball, it's such a long season; it's hard to keep it in the realm, in the spotlight, so to speak. But it's America's pastime, so we're gonna keep it going. So, you boys keep on hitting.
All right, so stay tuned on another episode of Chuck's Dugout. All right, let's go ahead and quick pause and take our following sponsors.
1990, Wichita's own Superstar Sports has everything for the fans' needs, whereas for NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, or either college. So please check them out at either the Town West Mall in Wichita, Kansas, or the Town East Mall, Wichita, Kansas, whereas Superstar Sports, where every fan is welcome.
In our new segment of hockey fans out there, the Hangry Polar Recap, so we'll make this pretty quick. Congrats to Eric's team, the Colorado Avalanche, for capturing their third Stanley Cup by defeating the defending back-to-back champions, the Tampa Bay Lightning. So congratulations to everyone in Colorado for winning the Stanley Cup. All right, so we're going to tune into the favorite episode of all, Mano a Mano. All right, you guys, so far in the house, we have our winners here. We have Chuck. And just Chuck, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So let's see if someone can. Let's see what we can do here. So we're going to start this off. With Taylor and Ed. Ed, will Tom Brady be fine with or without Gronk since the announcement of his retirement?
I think to start the season, he'll be fine, but I wouldn't be surprised if he were to call him back up, late during the season. If not, during the playoffs, it all depends on, his tight ends, if, they produce when it matters, and if they're, if their hands ready. But I definitely feel that Tom Brady, he's on a season, to make a season, known that, he was able, to do the job or to get it done, because, too many people have said, he's been able to do this and that because of Gronk. So not having Gronk, it may benefit him, in the long run. But, if he is needed, don't be surprised, if he gets that call up.
I think Brady has enough experience playing quarterback and enough weapons to really not miss him. I think Gronk's, he was a great player, but he's not what he used to be. They've got Evans, Godwin. They've got, I think, Brait tight end. He's not a bad guy. So
O.J. Howard.
Yeah.
Howard.
So they've got some guys still. I think that they'll be able to fill the void, and they've got a whole off season to, to practice. Not having Gronk, and they'll be ready when season starts.
Yeah, even though Gronk may not be that, reliable, kind of tight end. That we can say in today's day, but he can still cause problems, especially in the middle of the field. So, but again, with or without Gronk, he will have a great season, especially in that division. It's Saints, you got Winston, the Panthers, they don't even know what quarterback, and.
It's Baker Mayfield's team, baby.
Get it right, Ed.
I'm in the Falcons.
Disrespecting Baker Mayfield. I'm going to give this to you, Taylor. No, you done, bro. You done. This guy. Where's the respect at? Where'd you go to college at?
Boomer Sooner, baby.
Yeah, I need to stay that way. Anyway, all right. So I'm going to go give this to Taylor here. All right. Tristan and Chuck. I'm going to start this off with Chuck. Mm-hmm. Houston Texans have settled all the suits that arise during the Deshaun Watts stay with Houston. Will Houston rebound and make a run for the AFC South?
You can settle all the lawsuits you want. You can't settle that lack of talent on the team, man. You know what? And as upsetting as it is to say that they will not rebound in one of the weakest divisions aside from the NFC North, as far as balance-wise, like, you're not going to rebound. Like, what are you going to do? Who do you got? There's just no. Like, aside from upper management, you've got, Cesario from the Patriots and all that. Like, you've got promise going forward. I like the coaching, but the players themselves and they've got talent, and that's unfortunate to see, Cooks. That guy's a talented wide receiver. Mills, he's not going to be your guy. Houston has run through the quarterback carousel for years and years and years. They had their guy. Well, lo and behold, they didn't have their guy. Your defense, you had your guy. Well, lo and behold, you let that go too. So there will not be a rebound, unfortunately. Houston can hold on to the Astros for their starlight now. But every year the NFL can change. It just takes a couple of key playmakers, a couple of draft picks here and there. It's just not their season. That's all.
They're not rebounding, bro. It's a weak division, but they're in the same division as the Colts and then the Titans. That's all. They're nowhere near as good as the Colts and Titans. Not much to say with that, bro. Not rebounding. Not enough playmakers on that team. They're just have to get in the rebuilding mode and figure out who. They need a franchise quarterback. Like you said, they've been quarterback carousel, so they need a franchise quarterback to get that going. But no, not rebounding at all.
All right, so you pretty much summarized that, Chuck. So I'm gonna go ahead and give that to you because he just summarized it. So
let me add to it then.
Go ahead.
If you want to rebound, do what you got to do, and they don't. The Colts, name the last quarterback they weren't successful at. You lost Peyton Manning, one of the all-time greatest, and you came back and you found another quarterback. You got him in Andrew Luck, and then you did what you needed to do, and you got Phillip Rivers. He wasn't going to win it all, but he kept you relevant. And guess what you did? You got Ryan.
Tannehill?
No,
Matt
not
Ryan.
Tannehill. Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan.
Son of a gun.
Okay.
You got
I'll take an L for
you
that
got
one.
a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. Like, they're doing the job they need to at the positions that matter. And you've got Jonathan Taylor. So that's how you stay relevant in it's been one of the weakest divisions in the league, and the Colts have reigned on the AFC South. It's got one of the best records against their division in any other division in the league, and they do what they need to have, to make those moves. And Texans are not doing it. So,
all right. Well, all right. You're gonna answer the next one here. So we got Chuck and Taylor here. Chuck, tight end Mike. How you say the name for the Miami Dolphins? Kaziski.
Oh, Mike Gesicki.
Gesicki. Thank you. Sorry about that. And Dalton Schultz from your team at the Cowboys didn't make the deadline for the contract deals. Should the team sign them for their lucrative deals? If so, why? If not, please explain.
Definitely not lucrative, because tight ends aren't, they're not the big money makers. Do they deserve to get paid? Absolutely. These guys are run blockers. They're pass catchers. The Cowboys are not going to do it. Well, they've got too much money spread out elsewhere. Miami, guess what you did by bringing on the people you did? You definitely spread the wealth too much, because if you think Tua stays on a successful realm, if he's not going to demand that high-tiered contract coming up in the next 3 to 4 years, then guess where the money's going to have to go. But to the point of the position, the Miami Dolphins are way more successful with him at the realm. I think that he takes that, safety blanket and he adds to that position with an already studded wide receiving core. Like, who doesn't want that going on their side? So, we're not talking high-tiered contracts, but definitely pay that man, because he's going to do well for you when your offense needs it to happen. But they're not going to, no.
I could see with Mike Gesicki giving him a good contract. Tight ends in general don't make they don't make anything near what wide receivers, even though sometimes they are just as important as receivers. But I think the Dolphins will have the money to do it, whether they're going to be they're going to have rookie quarterback contracts for a while, whether that be Tua. I don't see them re-signing him, or, they, get someone else, Bryce Young, whoever, next year. They're going to have that cap from having a rookie quarterback, so that will give them money to use elsewhere, such as in tight end. So I could see, making a a good offer for Gesicki and keeping that talent there. As to the Cowboys, I mean, they lost Amari Cooper. They they, I don't know what their cap situation looks like. They might be moving off Zeke pretty soon. So if they have the money and they feel like he's, an essential part of the pass game, why not make it, why not secure him long term?
Well, I do know Cowboys have a top 5 most expensive offenses in the league. And that's even with losing Amari Cooper. So you don't have the money to give him, but if you look at his production, let's go mano a mano here. Gesicki and Schultz was a much more producing tight end than Gesicki was, I think, in the offensive realm there. With Amari Cooper, you just unloaded at least 30 more receptions his way. Let's say that goes that way, with the progression of their offense. So the problem is that's not where your money's made at. Like he was saying, is you're not going to get that contract. Do you earn it? Schultz earns it more because Gesicki doesn't have to do as much because his wide receiving core is even better. So I will say Schultz earns the paycheck, doesn't get paid. Gesicki, I don't know, Miami's not very good with decisions either. I mean, aside from that Larry Tunsil deal they had a while back. But so
All right.
I'd say that.
Okay, Chuck. Well, I'll give that to you. That was pretty good. All right. So Chuck's a little undefeated right now. So watch out, Chuck. All right. So we got Tristan and Ed here. All right. So, this is a basketball question. I always get them on the. Okay. So I'm gonna give you guys the basketball question here. So, with Baker Mayfield being traded to the Carolina Panthers, will he start or Sam Darnold will remain the starter?
I think Darnold will remain the starter. I think it was a couple days ago. Skip and Shannon, they were talking about that, and they said that Darnold may start 5-6 games, and they were talking about how suspect their O-line is. So they were talking about possibly Darnold getting into a pretty rough injury, and then there goes Baker Mayfield to finish out the season. But I mean, much won't change, so it doesn't really matter who starts or who doesn't start. So
I got Baker Mayfield starting, man. I think he's just a better quarterback. He came into a losing organization, gave him their first playoff berth in however long, bro. So he did really good at the Browns starting off. He fell off. That's why he's, of course, in Carolina. But I think as when it comes to compared to Sam Darnold, I have higher hopes or like a higher ceiling for Baker Mayfield. He's a lot more mobile, which will help, And, man, I don't see why he wouldn't unless he just doesn't impress at practice or anything like that. But I see him starting that, coming into that organization.
yeah, I mean, even though I agree, to some of your takes. I mean, we still don't know. I mean, Dan Baker just recovered from an injury on his third arm, so that's also a question there. So, I mean.
That could also be why he was, not doing so well and started like falling off in over with the Browns is because of that injury, and he was trying to play through it. So I'm hoping this injury will, make him look better.
I mean, I kind of hope so, but really, history with injuries. I mean, some players know how to come out and and are able to ball out, and other players really tend to stay where they left off, if not get worse. So, I mean, it would make sense, for Baker Mayfield, to start just because, the home opener is against the Browns. But, let's, pray and hope, Deshaun Watson, doesn't, show up for game one, because if he does, it's not going to be too well. But, I mean, on the bright side, I think Baker Mayfield will still be getting paid by the Browns, to beat the Browns. So, I mean.
Nice. Okay, hey, that was good. I like that. We'll give you that one there. All right, so this is going to be Taylor and back to you, Ed, since you want to be all smooth here. Russell Westbrook and his agent of 14 years, Thad Foucher, have parted ways. Does this resemble the end or new opportunities for a better team or deal for Russell Westbrook?
I think more so a little bit of it's a 50-50, near the end, and also, it's a new beginnings. Because really, earlier I was reading a post off Snapchat, a really, close, reliable source. They were saying how Russell Westbrook really basically, parted ways with his agent just because, his agent was wanting him, to play it out, this last season, with the Lakers. Because, he's going to be making nearly $50 million to be an okay point guard, in today's game. So, yeah, it really comes down to, what's going to happen, in the next, 2 months from, today till, game 1 of the regular season. So, and it also means that, Russell Westbrook was really just wanting out of the Lakers. I feel like that's what it comes down to.
How about you, Chuck?
Oh, it's between us?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's a loss. All right, good.
No, you said Taylor.
Did I say Taylor?
Yeah, you did.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's another loss for me.
Well,
There we go.
No, it's okay. No, go ahead.
If you wanted to find a way for me to wave the white flag, this is it. I'm completely out of the loop with this.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, you know what, Ed? Good job, Ed. You did all that talk. That is amazing. Where do they get these guys these days?
Man.
Where do they get them? But it's okay. He gets a win there. So Chuck, you got the first seed here in the playoffs. So now let's go ahead and we're gonna move this over to Chuck. So Chuck, I'm gonna start this off with you.
Mm-hmm.
With the Dolphins' new head coach Mike McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels. No, Josh is with the Raiders.
Oh, my bad.
Okay, that's a loss.
My bad.
That's a loss. No, I'll be nice. I'll be nice here.
All right.
How will the Dolphins perform this season with the new coach?
So Mike McDaniels came from the 49ers. Pretty good quarterback-esque, history with those guys. So Tua Tagovailoa has a chance to really sprout here. Like, you've got the wide receivers, decent running back. You got a good offensive around you. So here's your chance, right? The problem is that you're in the division against the Patriots. So, and the Bills. So, yes, he will be successful as far as coaches go. You've got a young quarterback. You've got young wide receivers. You're semi-successful in the NFL. You're a semi-successful coach in the NFL, and that's all it really takes. Because you've got guys that have maintained jobs over the years for abysmal records, for really piss-poor production on the field, and they've stayed coaches in the NFL. So you're going to be all right for years to come. You probably got, your roster set up. Let's get the defense on board going forward. You're not really that kind of defense or that minded coach, but you're going to be all right. But unfortunately, he's going to be overcast and overshadowed by the division themselves, and that's the Bills, basically right then and there. So,
Yeah, he basically said it all. He took some of my takes, so I'll give it to him.
Yeah, that's good job. Good job. That's a wrap for you. All right, that is a wrap for you. All right, so this is it. Now we're diving in the playoffs here. This is it, you guys. All right, so this is going to be Driston and Taylor. All right, Driston. Justin Jefferson stated that he will be the best wide receiver in the NFL. Is this fact or an opinion?
Clearly it's an opinion, bro. There's so many better wide receivers than him. He's great. I think he's probably top 10, top 15. But, man, I'd take Devontae Adams still over him. I'd take Cooper Kupp over him. I'd take Tyreek Hill on the Dolphins over him. There's so many much more talented, faster, better. Jamar Chase. I think I'd take Jamar Chase over him with the season he put up. And it's an opinion. I think it's subjective. If you're a Vikings fan, you're going to be like, oh, best receiver we got, best receiver in the NFL. But, man, yeah, no. It's not fact. It's opinion. I think there's way better receivers who put up way better numbers.
I don't see how it could be fact, honestly. He has 2 years of production in the NFL, and that he's done well. But, you've got that, and then you've got Kupp, you've got Devontae Adams, you've got Tyreek Hill, who have years of, proven track records. And, Justin Jefferson was the new thing on the street, and teams might not have anticipated his success, but with having so much tape on him, maybe now they're going to just really zone in on him, and we'll be able to see, can he really prove that he truly is elite, or is it just kind of was it just him being the new receiver? Is he going to just we'll see.
Tristan, pretty good. You named out some good points, and most of them I agree with you said. So, Tristan, congratulations. You move on this round here. So, this is sudden death to face Chuck in the championship. So, guess what? You're going to get another shot again. You will go against, because with the wins here, so you two are going at it again to face Chuck in the championship here. So, I'm going to start this off with you, Taylor. If the Giants are successful in recruiting Jimmy Garoppolo, will the Giants have a legitimate chance in the NFC East division?
Yes. And I say that because we can all agree NFC East is one of the weakest divisions in football. You've got...
You gonna let him talk to you like that, Ed?
Hey, it's the truth.
And Garoppolo's not he's not a bad quarterback. He's been to a Super Bowl. He was in the NFC Championship last year. And, they've got, Saquon will be another year off his ACL injury. He should be healthier. And, I don't think they're a clear division winner, but they're competitive enough to, compete with the Cowboys, maybe the Eagles. And, Washington's, they are what they are. I think they can.
Oh, please do tell. What are they? The Commanders. Put some respect on that.
Right. Oh, yeah. They've got, they'll have pieces to, make some noise.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. I don't think they're gonna be. I mean, it's a weak division, but the Cowboys are still much better. They have way more playmakers on offense and defense, in my opinion, and way more rounded team. Same with the Eagles. I think the Eagles are really on the down low. I have high hopes for the Eagles just because of all the players they picked up, and hopefully, it's another year for man. How do I forget his name? What's their quarterback? He's a boomer sooner.
Jalen Hurts? Come on, huh?
Jalen Hurts. There we
No.
go. It's another year.
That's a loss.
It's another year for Hurts, man, to improve, and I think it's gonna get much better, especially with AJ Brown and the new weapons around him. But no, even with Jimmy G, he's a good quarterback. Just besides, who else do they got at receiver? They don't have an elite receiver, and their offense relied heavily on Saquon, who's been injured the past 2 seasons. So I don't see them doing anything that they did last year.
Can we get a rebuttal here?
I can't see them being worse than they were last year. I do not think they would make it, win the division by any means. But, I could see them. It's a toss-up, but, Cowboys, Eagles, who would get first. But, the division, they always play each other pretty tough. Mm-hmm. The Giants are guaranteed to, upset someone. So I could see them taking one maybe against the Eagles, against the Cowboys, and, maybe with, Jimmy G instead of, Daniel Jones. They've got some decent young pieces other than Saquon. They've got Kadarius Toney. They've got Kenny Galladay. They have I'm not so sure about their defense, but they...
Name me someone from the defense.
We'll be waiting here a while.
Okay.
Yeah, get my phone out.
Okay, well, you guys both had some good points here, but here's the deal. And help me out, everybody here. You're a loser Sooner fan. You're a Sooner fan, and you forgot your boy.
Yeah,
that hurts a little bit. I mean, I'd be offended a little bit. That's Jalen Hurts.
They put out a lot of quarterbacks. Let's give a little break there.
Yeah. But you had some good points. So you had heart going in. So you know what? Welcome to the finals. You did it, bro. How do you feel right now?
I mean, I've been here before. You just got to win it. So, I mean,
that's the point. All right. So here we are for the championship here. You got Chuck. He is a champ. He's won his match going against the challenger. I'm going to start this off with you, Tristan. With Bobby Wagner leaving Seattle and going back home to Los Angeles to play the divisional rival for the Los Angeles Rams, with his addition, will they dominate now the NFC West? If so, why?
So you're asking if the Rams would dominate? Oh, I would think without Bobby Wagner, they would have dominated again. They're just an amazing team. They still got all the playmakers from that Super Bowl run besides, Odell and whoever went to the Bills, your guy. And then,
What's his name?
bro, it doesn't matter.
No, but
His
you want to
name
win,
is-
right? You're here. This is it. I mean, I know in the see how you Chiefs players, you get all excited, you get there, and then you choke. You got to, if you want to win this, Tristan, you got to put up names.
Ooh, all right, man.
So who was
Von
my
Miller.
guy? Thank you.
There you go. See, it
I'm
just took-
sensitive.
It took me a minute.
I'm a little sensitive.
Yeah,
a
it's
little
okay.
salty
It's
here.
okay. The Broncos fans are like that. But. No, yeah, they're with Bobby Wagner much better. Great. I love that move. I thought they were gonna make it to the playoffs again this year, take that division. Bobby Wagner just seals the deal on that too.
So, no, he doesn't make that big of a difference. The Legion of Boom is gone and fizzled. We've all seen every one of them come and go. He's the last of the ones. I think Richard Sherman still plays, but let's be honest.
Yeah, he's
not to say he's not a factor. He's still a professional NFL athlete. He's still a force to be reckoned with in that sense. But as far as positions, other guys in his position, like he's not the top tier guy. Like he's not your big, he's not Khalil Mack. He's not, Aaron Donald. Like those guys are bigger differences. Like defense wins championships. Does he make their defense good? Yeah, he keeps them relevant, but I don't think he makes a bigger difference. I think what happens is that team meshes better another year together. You had a quarterback that came in and made a wide receiver look as far as one of the best performances we've ever seen in the history of the NFL, and they did it with 1 year chemistry. So that, I think, makes a bigger difference than Bobby Wagner himself, because the chemistry as a whole, Aaron Donald makes that defense. And he's going to make or break that defense because that's just who he is. He's that caliber of a player. Can he learn more? I really hope so, because in a younger Aaron Donald, if he can make you better, let's see the schemes line up. Let's see, Seattle was on the negative. They're on the down. Like they weren't going anywhere better. They lost their quarterback. So he jumped ship right at the best. So he made the best decision he could have made for his career, but he doesn't make the best decision for that team as a whole. Allen Robinson might make a bigger factor than Bobby Wagner because, well, Odell Beckham might be injury prone. He may not play again for the LA Rams. So let's see him come into play. Great wide receiver, great talent, just like Bobby Wagner. But I think there's other pieces that make a bigger effect than Bobby Wagner himself. With his age, I think is one of the bigger deals.
So what was the question you were asking? Was it if him going to the Rams would make the Rams? Yeah, I mean, I don't think it necessarily matters what factor he'll play. I think he just makes them that much better. And they bring Von Miller in, and he did phenomenal. And I think clearly Von Miller's a better pass rusher, but Bobby Wagner's still great at pass rushing. He's also much better, in my opinion, at playing the pass game zone, and that'll help tremendously down the middle and lighting people up. And yeah, man, they're taking the division, and I guess I'll agree with you. Somebody like Allen Robinson, I think that'd be much more important. But this just to me, it kind of seals the deal. It's just like, wow, that defense is that much more tremendous. They already have a great defense, amazing DBs. Now they got a good linebacker to play the pass short.
Well, yeah, to that point, I mean, defense wins championships. You only added a star player. But I just don't think it's the bigger factor of the team. LA Rams dominated, in their division. They did what they needed to do. Matt Stafford was a bigger storyline. Cooper Kupp was a bigger storyline. Aaron Donald sealed the deal for the season with the sack on a star-studded quarterback. So, yes, he makes a difference, but he's not the game-winning difference.
I mean, I don't know what more you want me to say. I agree that he's not the game-winning difference, but I mean, they're winning the division.
Okay, so we need some help here. Ed,
I mean, I agree, to Chuck's take, he may not be that, game difference player, for them. But I mean, Bobby Wagner is Bobby Wagner. I mean, he still was able to show, I guess, old Legion of Boom instances, plays last year, with the Seahawks. So, I mean, losing Von Miller and getting, Bobby Wagner in return, I mean, it's not necessarily a huge upgrade, nor it's, a downgrade. I think it's right in the middle. Both are, great veterans. If anything, he's definitely going to help, these young studs, that young defense, the schemes, how to, better read, quarterback reads. So, I mean, just all in general, I mean, he's not to make this difference. LeBron, he's still playing, but it's just, he just has that, it factor, just that, that football knowledge to him. So, yeah, he may not be a game changer on the field, but, he definitely will be a game changer in the film room and practices. So,
Taylor, anything to add?
I mean, the guy is a tackling machine. He plays a different position from Vaughn. He's more of someone who covers the middle of the field. He doesn't rush the passer as much. So I'm not sure if the Rams were lacking that center field presence last year or not, but he was one of the best at his positions. And, I could see him making a pretty big impact, covering George Kittle. He has to play against him twice a year. He's good at covering tight ends or, QB spying Kyler Murray, who likes to run with the ball. He might be that, that piece. I mean, they already have a ton of pieces, but he could be that, piece to really dominate the division.
I mean, it's like saying, with, the Rams late in the postseason, basically getting Eric Weddle from his couch, to come back and basically, give that, extra, feed that extra hunger, on that, secondary. So
on that piece that you just said, Eric Weddle, if you guys would have nailed it, that would have been it. Ed, where were you, man? You came to, gosh, Eric Weddle, look what he did. And this goes back to Chuck. He came in, been a Charger for a long time, wreaking havoc, but he came back, he brought in the element of leadership. He brought in experience. And Driston, you nailed it on the dot. Both of them agreed that he does more of a position than Von Miller. We both know Von Miller is an edge rusher, but that's where he's at. He's just one-dimensional. Bobby Wagner learned a lot. I mean, he went to back-to-back Super Bowls. He won one, lost one, and then made a couple appearances in the playoffs. So he's got experience. He's familiar with the division. He's back home. So with that being said, Tristan, you finally did it, bro. You did it, man. You won. I know you're excited. I get it. This kind of win, this is phenomenal. So is there any last words you want to say, you champ?
I just want to give thanks to all my Chiefs players out there, man. We're taking this to the Super Bowl this year, and I wouldn't have been able to win this without them.
Breaking news, there was an error in the No, I'm joking. Hey, congratulations, Tristan. I mean, good point. Chuck, of course, he gave you a run for your money, but the simple fact is, Eric Weddle, if you would have nailed that, that would have been the nail in the coffin. Because you brought in that piece. With Von Miller coming, those players came in late in the season. Mm-hmm. They came in late in the season. Robert Woods was not really a factor. I mean, it was just literally Cooper Kupp, Jefferson. Mm-hmm. I mean, Cam Akers went down. Who was next up in line? It was
Henderson.
Yeah,
Henderson.
Yep.
So,
I mean,
like they said,
Akers came back in the end of the season.
But look at this. Coach, Sean McVay, he's young.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's there to stay. So, congratulations, man. Finally, you are a champion. I'm kind of emotional. I'm really happy for you.
That's going to make up for the disappointment, with the Chiefs this season.
They just wish they had Wagner.
Well, you guys, that concludes that. In conclusion, we will be doing a fantasy football segment. So stay tuned. So if you have questions, we've got good knowledge here. I mean, I don't know if we're up to like Yahoo Sports or anything, but we're local. We keep it simple. So we will do is every week during the beginning of the NFL season, we will give out our picks, who to start, who to sit, and just kind of go from there. So also as well, we were going to reveal another new show coming up. So that's not doing no spoiler alerts. And before we head out, any shout-outs before we go?
Yeah, just, big shout-out for the invitation and, big thank you, just to the overall knowledge, from Chuck. and just being here, once again, with all you guys, it's a great time as always, and go Chiefs.
Take an L for that. Take an L for that.
I like that. I'm gonna go to baseball because it's been a rough season for me in particular. You started off strong and then.
Where's the violin out? Let's get that violin out.
I don't really pay much attention to it, but I do pay attention to my Angels, and it's tough, man, tough. But shout out to Otani and Mike Trout for being on that team, because if it wasn't for them, we'd be nothing. Quick
shout out to the wife for letting me do this. She lets me have the time to come out here. Carlos, thank you guys in the back for having me out. To Tristan's point, Shohei Otani, man, give the guy a round of applause. He's doing something we haven't seen in baseball in a long time, and he's dominating at that. So, give him the credit.
Yeah, I just want to shout out to the subscribers. I heard we reached a pretty important milestone. So, just thank you to all those people who've been with us since the beginning. Keep supporting us and just spread the word, and we'll be happy to continue to provide content.
First of all, I want to thank you guys. I mean, I'm not going to put businesses out there, but Ed, my boy here, Ed, had a little injury. He's holding through. Thank you for making it happen, dude. I really appreciate it. Tristan, you're my dude. I don't care if you're a Chiefs fan. You're a good guy. I appreciate you. Chuck, as always, man, thanks to the wife as well for coming through. I mean, I owe it to you a little bit, Chuck, since I've gotten to know you, my friend, besides you being a Wolverines fan. You overall inspired me to keep liking baseball. Besides my son, he's doing great. Overall, I appreciate you just giving me that baseball knowledge and tailor-made. I mean, what can I say? You're a good friend. I appreciate you. Keep it doing what you're doing. I'm always happy to hear from you. And please come back to the show. This is your house. Not Ed, but Eric in the back behind the scenes, thank you so much. Pow as well. Thank you to the subscribers as well. Thank you to everyone that tunes in. We are so looking forward to football season, and we will do college as well, and we'll wrap up a little bit of baseball. So tune into the next episode. We're out.